we feel loved. We feel so loved here.
All right. I'm with Giovanni Calderon, number 16 of Ventura County Fusion. How you doing today?
I'm doing well. Thank you for having me out here today.
Yeah.
It's a pleasure to always be here in the 805. Yeah.
Yeah, it's your little home away from home after 3 seasons with us.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the seasons don't get old. You just want to always come back, and it's really just a special place.
Well, welcome. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you.
You were talking to me a little bit about your plans for Thursday. You are a part of the Puerto Rico national team. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so I got called up to get again with the Puerto Rico national team. I'll be going there on Thursday for about 2 weeks. And so we're playing El Salvador and Anguilla at home. I go to El Salvador, and then it's going to be a World Cup qualifier match. It's going to be a tough environment, but it's nothing that we're not ready for, and I'm excited to see what this group has in them, and I'm excited to contribute and be part of that team again. Just to give you a little background, it's always just like a dream to go play with them and play with Puerto Rico and represent my island, and I'm just grateful at the end of the day to put on the jersey and be able to go out there. And so I go on Thursday. I'll be back in 2 weeks, back in the 805, and I think I got well prepared before going right now, playing these 2 games and winning these 2 games, getting clean sheets. I could go on and on. I'm just excited to get started.
Yeah, defense has been solid the last couple of games, and you're a part of that. You're the captain.
Yeah, I mean, we're going out there every day, just working as hard as we can. Kevin, my center back, alongside me, Sebastian as the right back, Michael as the left back. I owe it to them, to the defensive line, and I always prioritize the defensive line. Sorry to the attackers if they get a little rattled, but we really take pride in that. And so, but the whole team, it's just a fusion culture and passion of wanting to protect our home. And it comes from everyone. And also I want to give a shout out to the keepers, Luke and Cash. They've been phenomenal. But it's a team effort at the end of the day, and I hope that whichever young players watch this, that if out of anything, focus on being a team player and just knowing your role, because that's what gets us so far. And so I love it.
I love that character that you talk about right away. That's so important for the success and for the longevity of your team. You talk. Where does that come from? Where does that character trait come from for you?
I actually had a conversation with teammates at Fusion, like over the years, just where does this come from? Why is it? Why do we feel like this responsibility? And we just got here. And as a captain of Fusion, I try to instill that as much as I can. And with the returning guys that we have from that national championship team, they know it too. So like Marley, who's stepping up, who's been stepping up, and I'm forgetting the other one who returned as well.
Booba was on that team.
Booba as well, and like Booba. How could I forget with the personality he has? But those are guys who understand where this comes from. And to really answer your question, it's we feel loved. We feel so loved here. And the housing Fusion is providing, and it's just this culture of people like you, for example, who are having me on a podcast this week, and you might have Boober or Marley on next week, or you might have Eric Serrano on the following week. It's just, you really want to know us. And coming here and fighting for Fusion, I can't tell you, it's one of the best feelings. I love posting about Fusion. I love talking about Fusion. I love calling my family and telling them I just won a game at Fusion, and I feel such a responsibility to get a clean sheet and win at home, even if it's 50 fans or 2,000 fans. no matter what, it's just you want to win for Fusion. And I loved everyone in the staff, everyone here. And so I hope that answers the question. Maybe I have more as the interview goes on or the episode goes on.
No, I mean, that was pretty powerful stuff you just said, that you feel loved, and that's so important. You know, I think everyone here just wants the best for the players. You know, we want to see them succeed, and you're totally bought in, so it's so great to hear.
Yeah, thank you. I just smile every time I talk about it. I love it, really. I love it so much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You want to go back to your Puerto Rico national team experience? Is that a different feeling? Is that a different kind of pride? What is that?
Yeah, that's a great question. I mean, I've been in Puerto Rico since U15, representing the national team in all different stages and all different tournaments. And yeah, when you go to Puerto Rico, you gotta be locked in playing these islands. You gotta be nasty. You gotta be fighting for that badge till the 95th, 97th minute, because that game, you don't know how long it's gonna go on. And you feel a sense of pride, and you're grateful, immensely grateful, because not everyone gets the opportunity to represent their island, their country, where they come from, where their family comes from. And so when I go, and I know my mom is from there, and she represents that side, yeah, I go in and I just have an indescribable feeling. Like, I can't give you all the words of what it is, but when I go there, I'm locked in, and I'm ready to work at my 100% ability. And sometimes it'll be energy that I didn't even know that I had in there. But when I go, I have like the good nerves, like, let's do this. And so, yeah, that's kind of what I feel when I go there. And then I just lean on the work that I've done before. So I'm not surprised of what outcome comes, because I know the work that I've done before. Mm-hmm. And so, yeah, I just feel that.
What's the relationship like with those teammates? Because you don't see them as much as your Fusion teammates.
Yeah, with those teammates, I don't get to see them as much as Fusion. Sometimes it's a similar roster. Every 4 months that we have some things, it's a similar roster, because those are the guys getting called up who are still doing the right things. And yeah, you might have little guys stray. You might have some guys stray away, mm-hmm. and new guys come in, but then you invite them into that culture. And so, like Fusion, I don't see these guys all the time. Some of them, they're my enemies on the field when I go into the season. But when we're here, we're brothers. Mm-hmm. And I have your back, you have my back. And it's all these players coming from, all the players are coming from a high level. Just like Fusion, you're getting all the best college soccer players in the country. In the national team, you're getting all the best Puerto Ricans there are on the island and outside of the island. And so you know that you have those basic traits of a soccer player, of being disciplined, of having good character, of being good on and off the field. So those things carry on. It makes it a little bit easier. Yeah. And so, yeah, I think that's what helps.
Where do your teammates, your Puerto Rico national team teammates, play during the rest of the year?
Yeah, so some of them play in the USL Championship. Some of them play USL 1. Some play MLS. And some play in Puerto Rico. Yeah. And some of them play in Spain. Some play overseas. And so it's all different ranges in the world.
And what's the coaching like?
We have a great coach. His name's Charlie Trout. And he's a great guy. Has this energy, and he's so impactful into the team. The way he speaks to us, the way he empowers us, and the way we bring on this young culture that we have on the team. And that young culture comes relentless energy. You're coming in and you're working as hard as you can every day. And one of the things that struck with me that made me want to be a better soccer player is when he's like, Gio, you got to be nasty. You got to be a nasty center back. And I'm like, you're right. Like, I need this. And so he's really helped me in my career. And so, and it helped me with the national team as my years have went on. I think I've developed into a better national team player, and so I'm really grateful to him and what he's done with the group. Yeah.
Would you say you sort of made the most progress as a player from your college days, your fusion days, or your national team days? What has helped you, like, maybe not even necessarily the coaching, but just like a moment, what has been like some good moments of learning from those three experiences?
So losing and winning, you always win. You always learn something. To me, I always learn something from losing and winning. From winning, you know that it's this feeling that may never come back. When you win a championship, that feeling you may never lift a trophy again. I hopefully always will, but you never know. And when you lose, you know that you have work to do to get to that point, and you need to, and you're not the best team. You don't have the best players around you. How can we come together and make it the best team that we can? And so, for myself, that's a great question. I would say my club days, you didn't mention those days, but I would say the club days are the most important, because when I was 13, 10, 11, 9, 8, I needed to learn how to kick a soccer ball. I need to learn the basic things of how to be a captain. I've been a captain on my team since U12.
Wow.
Not every single team, but most of my teams I've been captains on. And so I've been able to enhance my leadership from a very young age, and I think that's what's built my character. And yes, getting better, training every day is helping me, but the foundation's the most important for me.
So what do you think they recognized in you as a kid to name you captain? What makes Gio Gio?
Oh, I don't know. Yeah.
Because it's been consistent, you know?
Yeah, it's been pretty consistent. I mean, I have to owe it to my parents, to my brothers. I have two older brothers, 28 and 27, Nikolai and Joshua, and they played soccer at high levels. They represented the national team of Puerto Rico. They played at Iona College. They made tons of mistakes in middle school and high school. And so being the youngest child, I've seen what not to do and what to do.
I've had that experience too. Yeah, I'm the youngest too.
And so that's helped me a ton. And my parents enforcing what they want in their house, and seeing my brothers go against it or go with it. I've seen what gets you farther in just our household. And so kind of obeying those things have helped me a lot, and made me not run into as many mistakes. And so I think that's helped a ton in creating who I am. And then I just think that I've always had this also just thing about me of just being curious. When I was like 13, I'd just email clubs and being like, I want to play for you. And if I don't get a response, I wasn't really as scared of rejection. And I think that's also helped a lot, because a lot of us, when we're at a young age, we get into like this little circle and we're like, we're like, if he says no, like I'm the worst player in the world. And at the end, it's everyone's opinion. And in my U11 days, I didn't get a lot of run. And I was on the white team when there was a white and blue team. And the blue team was the best team. And so I just always learned from that. And I could go on and on with examples, but I'd say family shaped it.
I think also when you just said like not being afraid of rejection is a big part of it. I always tell my players like, you can't be afraid to lose, because that's when you lose, and that's when you don't learn. And I think your best moments and your biggest moments of learning is when you can let that go, that feeling of, oh, I don't want to mess up, to making a mistake and learning from it. So I think that's a pretty important character as well.
Yeah, I agree. Not to be so into my thoughts, but I think it also comes from, like, I've read a ton of books this year, and I've really like tried to learn about why. Like, why am I who I am?
What do you like? What have you been reading?
And I've been reading a ton of books. I've been reading Atomic Habits, The Four Agreements. Four Agreements is an amazing book. I've been reading the Bible. I've been reading this book called The Horse, the Mole, the Something Else and Something Else, great book. But there's a variety of books. I'm forgetting a few. And I don't know. I just think that, yes, we get scared of what we do is wrong, of what we do is bad, or if somebody says no, it's bad. And so I think it's also how you're brought up. Like, these are the rules you follow, and if you do them, you're great. You're a great kid. Like, you're gonna get ice cream. You go get ice cream later. But if you do them wrong, then you're gonna be grounded. You're gonna be in detention at school. And so I'm not sure if it's so much the kid's fault. And I think that my parents have done a great job teaching me that and saying, you go play soccer. If the coach tells you you're not good enough, you're not good enough and you need to get better. Or if he tells you you're not good enough, then you need to find another club who values you. Mm-hmm. So I think understanding that from a young age helped me a lot, rather than learning it now. And so those were good. Learning it now was a nice reminder. But yeah, the foundation was really important for me.
And that came from your family?
Yeah, I have to owe it to my family. Yeah. Or it's something God given, and I just don't know about it yet. Yeah.
That's funny. I know you had a brief stint in the, I hope I get this right, the Navy Academy?
Yeah, the United States Naval Academy.
That's right. That's what it was. Because we talked a couple years ago about it. Can you talk about that experience and how it shaped you as well?
Yeah, so that experience always comes up. And
in a good way,
with anyone I talk, I love talking about it. Okay. And I'd say that was, yes, okay. Now that I think about that, that was a huge moment in my life where it was my first year in college at the Naval Academy. Mm-hmm. And so, like, only, I don't know what the acceptance rate is now, but maybe 9% only get in. Everyone's super smart.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Got to pass all these tests to get in. Got to make sure that you have no health concerns in your body. And so, and then you got your little plebe summer boot camp in the summer before season even starts, and you're not even touching a soccer ball. You're really just invested in becoming the best midshipman that you can be, and that's what they call them there, like a midshipman fourth class. And so, when I went there, I thought to myself, I was like, is it worth it going to the Naval Academy and not doing soccer? Or playing soccer, right? Playing Division I, but going to the Naval Academy and being set for life, being in my prestige uniform, ironed perfectly, got the nice little, the badges on top, representing the United States of America at the highest level possible, in my eyes. That's an opinion. I was like, those all sound amazing, and going outside and people look at me like, mm-hmm. Wow, he's doing this. Like, he had the balls to go do this. And then get amazing academics, earn my degree, and create brotherhood, because your brother's right away when you get there. And then let soccer come secondary and do whatever in soccer. And so that was a big thought of mine. And then I went for that, like a couple months in. I was just like, yeah, maybe I could do this, and maybe like soccer's slowly going. And then as time went on, I was like, what am I doing? Mm-hmm. I can't serve for 7 years. I can't serve for 5 years after college. You realize how short life is there. You have people in your class that are gone. And it's like, and at one point I actually thought to myself, and I was like, it's okay if that happened to me. Mm-hmm. I'm representing at the highest level, and we're all going to go out someday. And if I'm doing this, then that's worthy. And when I would tell my parents that, they'd be like, oh, this guy has lost it. He's lost his mind. And I was playing for something bigger than myself. I was playing soccer, but that wasn't my identity. And so as time went on, I would really get in deep thoughts with myself, and I'd say, like, this can no longer go on. I need to chase my dream. I was like, I've been captain where I've been. I played at high levels. I played at New York City, DC United, the national team. I need to go back to that. And I was like, life's so short, I could be gone. And look how much there's to life. I could go to California
Mm-hmm.
and go, and I experience a life that I never have. And I didn't know the potential of what California had to offer me. And it's been incredible. And sorry for the long answer, but yeah, over there, then I made my mind on that. And then I decided to come to Fullerton, come to California, see a different part of the country, and give everything to soccer. And I found my identity, I feel like, of what I do. And at the bottom line, it's just being kind to people and wanting to just share my story with as much people as I can and help and just help and be kind to people. And so that's definitely been a monumental step in my journey as a soccer player, career person. And I've learned so much from that place. And so I wouldn't change my journey in any way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you still have any connection to the school, to the Naval Academy?
Here and there, I talk to some people there, but it's not as close as it was before.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, that's about it.
Were there other people in your class that may have left before the full 4 years or 7 years that you know?
Yes, there's one who plays on the national team of Puerto Rico.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
No kidding.
Yeah, and he
Was that a coincidence, or you guys knew each other beforehand?
No coincidence. We didn't know each other beforehand, and then we became friends at the Naval Academy. Yeah.
And now you're both, wow,
Yeah.
that's awesome.
It's crazy how it all circles back, and it's weird how it does that. But hey.
So let's talk about the transition to California. You decided to transfer to Fullerton. How was that?
It's
totally different.
Yeah. It's been incredible though. Coming to Fullerton and then becoming captain again in my first semester when I came.
Oh, yeah?
It was incredible. And then coming to Fusion, this is how it all. This is why it's weird, and this is from God. Like I believe like that. And I transfer to Fullerton, come here, and then that summer, I play for Fusion the first time, and we win a national championship.
Oh, that was your first season?
And that was my first season.
Wow.
And I've never played a fall college season at Fullerton. And so when I go back and I think about it, I'm like, how? How does that all work out?
Wait, so you played for Fusion before Fullerton? Is that what you're saying?
I played for Fullerton in the spring.
Oh, in the spring.
And I never played a fall season
wow.
that counted.
Okay.
And then I went to Fusion and we won. And then I went into my Fullerton season. And I was just like,
that's a great way to start.
This is an amazing way to start. So it was home very, very quick. And now I don't think I'll ever leave California. I think that I'll go wherever I need to for soccer, but I'll always come back here for life. And the people here that I've met have been so sincere, so honest. And maybe that's the circle that I have. But that's anywhere. I could speak for 10 minutes about my Fullerton journey, and to keep it short, it's just been really honoring, and I wouldn't trade this experience for the world. I've relating to leadership, I've seen a whole new way that my leadership had to improve, and I see tons of ways that it still needs to improve. And maybe it's coming from the culture in California, how it's more diverse than the Naval Academy, for example. It's not as diverse. Mm-hmm. And so coming here, finding kids who made it through such a rough childhood and are still trying to make ends meet. They're trying to be the hero in their family. How can I get them to believe in me when they maybe didn't have anybody to look up to? Mm-hmm. And so finding that balance has been so cool, and I'm totally invested in that. And at Fullerton, you slowly see how it's all came in. Now we were regular season champions. We'll see what this has to bring this fall, but it's been amazing winning culture since coming to California, and I can't complain at all. Yeah.
So Fullerton days have been great.
Yeah.
And you've been an example and a leader for your teams for so long. What would you say have been like a good example, a role model for you growing up? You mentioned your family, but is there someone else that's sort of really inspired you, helped you find yourself?
Yeah, I definitely family.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't want to give that answer for everyone listening because it's easy to say, my family. But in all honesty, it's definitely my mom, my dad, my brothers, my grandma, my grandpa, mamita, papito. It's definitely all those people. Those are 100% the first people that are my role models. But I don't want to give that answer. My like role model that I really love and I'd love to meet one day and sit down would probably be Denzel Washington. And I just think he's an amazing leader. Whatever comes out of that guy's mouth, I just listen to. And I'm like, I need to follow that. And so one thing that really empowered me over the years is, and this is all from him, and then when people say it's all from him, he says it's all from God. And then he's like, it's not from me. But if Denzel watches this at all,
I'll send it to him.
I want him to know. He said one time, people always say, we got to fall back on something. You got to fall back on something. You got to fall back on something. You go play soccer, you tear your ACL, you tear your knee, you break your ankle, you got to fall back on something. And he's like, no, you got to go for something. You got to go for your dream. And at least that way, you're going to see what you're going to hit. And so if I'm going to go try out for this team and I got nothing to fall back on, well, you know that if this is your one opportunity to go pro, if you don't make it, you're going to be working now. Or you're going to spend a year as a free agent trying to find a team. But I am so okay with knowing what I'm going to hit. And so that's been so inspiring and people be like, oh, that's stupid. Like, that's dumb. And it's like, no, that's when you're going full throttle for your dream. Mm-hmm. And you're not relying on something in the back in your subconscious. I'm going full throttle. And if that doesn't work out, I know what I need to do. And so, but he said a ton of things. Denzel's probably been my role model too. Yeah.
I think that's great. I think that's like, so that could be like the worst fear is never giving your dream a shot. Even if you fail, you have to try.
Yeah, even with my parents, I would tell them, my parents would be like, Gio, you need to do this. And my parents come from a rough background. My dad was an immigrant from Colombia. He was born in Colombia and then he came to the U.S., my mom in Puerto Rico, and my mom's dad worked for 30 years at McDonald's, and my dad was a basketball player, and then he had to stop playing basketball to work. Mm-hmm. And so it's like, you didn't do it because you had other responsibilities, but I can do it.
Yeah. And
I could try. And if I'm not going to do it, I'll do the same thing that you did, and I'll work. But I got to go for it. And so not leaning to the safety first, that's been cool. That's been a really eye-opening experience. And I was scared to take that jump in the beginning. I was like, okay, I'm going to try. And then...
When was that? When did you say, okay, I'm going to try?
I would say before I even knew who Denzel Washington was.
Like 18 years old, 20 years old?
Probably... Probably when I was 14.
14, okay.
And then I needed to be reminded. That's when I went to boarding school at DC United when I was about 15, 14. And then I had to remind myself about that again leaving the Naval Academy because I was like, okay, here's another chance. I've already done it. I've already done this before. So it's like, should I do it again? And then that was a reminder, but now I've matured. So it's been really different. At 14, I didn't have a ton of experience behind me. At 20, I had a ton of experience behind me. And now at 22, now it's like, okay, now it's time for pro trials. Now it's time to go professional. Right, and so now I got to do it again. And I'm ready. And so I'm really happy about that.
So it was 2 moments. 14 at DC United and then leaving the Naval Academy.
Yeah.
And you feel ready?
And I feel ready more than ever now to just go on and go professional after this season. And whatever the future holds. If that doesn't happen, I'm ready for anything that comes.
Do you have one more season at Fullerton?
One more fall. Yeah.
Okay.
This fall, and then I'll be graduated, hopefully. But yeah.
So just one semester.
Yeah, one semester.
Okay. Not the spring.
Not this spring.
So you're gonna play your season. You're gonna graduate, and then big time. Join your friends.
Yes.
From the Fusion that have already gone.
I have to.
Have they said anything about their experience? Like Logan
yeah, I talked to Logan. Me and Logan are friends, and so he was great here, and I loved playing with him, and I loved having his back in goal, defending for my life to make sure that whenever he scores, we win the game, and whenever Nathan scores a Poku, we've had tons of players who are just phenomenal, and I'm lucky to have been there with them and to have led them and been with this team. It's amazing. So yeah, I still talk to him. He's doing great. Still drinks his Dr. Pepper.
Logan?
Yeah. And so me and Logan just have jokes for each other all the time.
That's funny.
But yeah.
I didn't know he was a Dr. Pepper fiend.
Yeah, people don't know his friend over there.
Now we know. The doctor. Let's talk about some of your soccer favorites. Do you have any favorite teams or favorite players?
Yeah, that's a tough subject to talk about. Man United, I'm their fan, but they won the FA Cup.
Yeah,
we beat City. And so I know I'll get tons of haters from there. And then for just the legends of the game, I love Puyol. He is also the captain that I've wanted to be. And so whenever I watch his videos of just helping his teammates, of how he just got them back focused in the game, just get them back focused, and not caring about the armband or anything, but he's just innately a captain. And so I've loved him, and he's the most I've looked up to for soccer. He might not be the best technically, but that guy has all the passion in the world, and just wants the best for the team. And so I'd also love to meet him. But yeah, that's also a legend that I just keep my game around.
When I was in college, we had a Barcelona poster on our locker room. And it was More Than a Club, Mexican Club. And it was a picture of him. Like, he was the poster, More Than a Club above him. So
I always got the Barcelona right there.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Tough day as a Barca right now. But back in the day when Puyol was playing,
yeah, he was incredible.
I can see why you look up to him.
Yeah.
And I can see, your desire to emulate that on the field as well.
Thank you.
Yeah. He was definitely, the heartbeat of that team.
I know. He gave everything that he could. And I don't know everything. And I love to just go dig into details and find out everything that he did. How did he make a culture so good? And I really think that so much came from him too, because I don't really hear Messi or all of them talk about it.
Yeah.
But to the fans, he looked like he was Barcelona.
I wonder if that's like a Spanish thing versus a U.S. thing, because we have so many sports documentaries about football players and basketball players here in the States. I wonder if we just don't have any soccer documentaries because we're here in the States and not in Spain. But you don't hear anything about, Xavi and Iniesta, Puyol, Messi. Just they don't do a lot of like documentaries.
Yeah,
they should, especially for that era of Barcelona.
There's some coming out on Netflix and stuff.
Are there?
Yeah, like Man City's treble win, and there's different ones coming out, but yeah, more individual. I don't see it as much.
If you could go pro for one team, what would it be?
Oof. I wouldn't want to say one team and then the other team that wants to draft me doesn't want to get me now. But yeah, I'd want to be drafted by any team in the country. But it would be cool to stay in LA. It'd be cool to be LAFC, LA Galaxy. It'd be cool to be here in LA, and be playing for a team here. And I'd love to go overseas as well, if that opportunity ever presented itself.
Yeah. What are your highlights from your playing experience?
Highlights. There's a ton. Since I'm in the 805 right now, the national championship is just playing in my head right now.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll go from the beginning. Probably a highlight would be Alianza de Football. It's this organization that would bring in thousands of kids to every city, and they would tour the country. And they went to New York City, and my dad had me go, and you got to be the best player there to be selected. And they pick one player. And I'm
Out of all the kids?
Out of all the kids.
Wow.
Out of about 1,000 kids there. And I'm like, okay, Dad, I'm going to go. And I'm like, yes, hopefully they pick me. But then I'd seen attacker, and attackers normally get the glory of the forwards. They score goals, and I'm like, oh, that guy's probably going to get it. So I go to New York City, Randall's Island. I was 15 at the time, 15, 16. And I showcased myself, and I was there, and Seattle Sounders was there, and DC United, and all these different MLS teams. And then the scouts from Alianza de Football were there, and then they picked me as the best player. And I was like, whoa. And I didn't even expect it. Once it got to that point, I made like the final 18. And then I was like, I don't know if this is going to happen. And then they picked me, and I was like, wow. And then there was a program there called Access U. And it's a program where they bring people from lower incomes who are good at soccer and have good grades. And they qualify for this program, and they bring the best athletes in the Alianza program to go represent at a showcase, at like Surf Cup. And they pay for everything, and you go. And they selected me for that as well. So I went, and I just started expanding my network, and I met these people, and I was like, what's the catch? I was like, what's the catch? You're telling me I went to this tryout. You're going to pick me. You're going to fly me to California. That's why something's crazy with California. So they're going to drive me to California. They're going to pay for my hotel, go meet all these kids, pay for everything, and then you're going to fly me back. Just so I have a good time. And I'm 15. So that happened, and I made amazing, amazing connections. And then as time went on, there was something called YSF, Yours in Soccer. The Yours in Soccer Foundation, and they found me in that same period, and they were like, Gio, we want you to come represent at a showcase. And they paid for everything, and they brought me out, and I was like, what is going on? And my dad's like, Gio, just go. And my dad would be a little iffy, like, who are these people? This is weird. And then I went, and it's amazing. And I met Beto and Gloria. I met the vice president now for San Diego, who's Joaquin Escoto. And at the time, he wasn't with San Diego FC, the new MLS team. But it's crazy how all of it's just connected. And so Beto and Gloria brought me in. Jerome Simone's the founder of YSF, a great guy who funds the program. And I've been the closest with YSF now through all my years. And I might actually go this summer and speak at their summer convention.
So you're still connected to them?
I'm still connected.
Wow.
Since 15. And that's why it's such a big moment in my life, because that was huge. And I'm not giving all the full story because I would have to talk for like 20 minutes. But YSF has been amazing in my journey. And if anyone wants details on that, they could always reach out.
Is that a national organization, or is it regional to where you grew up?
It's national.
Okay.
It's definitely in California. They pick a lot of players from California. But I was from Connecticut, and they brought me from Connecticut. So I would say national.
YSF? Is that
YSF, Yours in Soccer Foundation.
Yours in Soccer Foundation. And
they're helping the undeserved. And they're great soccer players. I have teammates at Duke, teammates at UNC Chapel Hill, teammates here in the Big West at UCLA, all around.
Former teammates?
No, just I call them my teammates because they're in the YSF program. So we'll all become reunited again when we go play in these tournaments.
So you still can play in these tournaments?
No longer in these tournaments. But when we did, they were my teammates.
Yeah.
And so now we come back to give back to the program and tell the kids, be like, you don't understand the passion that comes behind this, because these people actually have your back through anything. And I still text them for anything. I'm like, Beto, what's your advice on this? Gloria, what's your advice? And they'll give me it's amazing.
So who are the founders? who are the people in charge of this organization?
So the founder of YSF is Jerome Simone.
Jerome.
And Jerome's a great guy who lives in San Francisco.
Okay.
And he really just has a generous heart and wants the best for us and expects nothing in return. And his glory is seeing us go to college and get our degree. Mm-hmm. And it's amazing what he's done. And I try to always keep a close connection with him, even though he's so busy. And Beto and Gloria are the backbone who run it.
Okay.
And Beto's the scouter, Gloria's the director who brings it all together. Carrie's also there as well.
Are they all headquartered in San Francisco?
No, it's in San Diego based.
San Diego, okay.
Just the founders in San Fran, and so, yeah.
Yeah, I've never heard of this organization, Yours in Soccer.
Yeah, not a lot of people hear about it, but it needs to be heard everywhere. It's an amazing organization, and so that was a pivotal moment.
So is their goal to get sort of these kids into college or through college and, fund that experience for them?
No, it's not to fund it. It's to see us grow. They fund the tournaments, the showcase, the Surf Cup,
okay.
But to go to college, to be able to earn a scholarship, to know what it means that your parents, your first generation and your parents maybe didn't go to college, and they are so glorified and so happy that you're going, and you're going to be on a full scholarship. Like, how amazing is that? And so that's where they find their peace in it, to help you reach that. It's so kind. It's so kind. And so, yeah, they've been...
So they scout people from all over the country and put them on these teams into this program.
Yeah, and build relationships with coaches. And it was like, I am not a gimmick or anything. Like, this is just who I am.
Huh.
So, yeah.
I'll have to look into it.
Yeah, you definitely need to.
I mean, that's what this whole podcast is about. It's about getting the talent in the 805 more exposure. Because we got so many kids. And ideally, I'd like to get college athletes and high school athletes to be the host, and they talk to their peers or, whoever else they want to interview. But it's along the same lines of, giving opportunities to youth.
Yeah.
That's why it's called the Young Athletic.
Yeah, the Young Athletic. That's a great name.
Thank you.
But, yeah, definitely need to know that program.
Yours
it's
in
a great
Soccer.
one.
Yours in Soccer. I'll look into it.
Yeah.
Okay, what other highlights?
The Puerto Rico national team.
Yeah.
Definitely a highlight, but specifically one of the best experiences in my whole life was going to the U17 World Cup qualifiers and being a game or two away from qualifying for a World Cup. And we played against Mexico, and we went in the group stage, won all our games, or won most, never got scored on. Then we played Mexico, we went up 1-0, and then we lost 2-1 around the 75th minute, and that's the best Puerto Rico's ever done, versus Mexico. And that team, just the brotherhood, the coach, Marco Velez, the way he brought us all in. I wish I was closer with all of them still, but that moment in time was probably the best moment, and probably one of I never forget that moment. Playing at IMG Academy for the World Cup qualifiers, U17. It was awesome, playing as a center back. And yeah, it was amazing. That was a great moment. And then another moment was coming to Fusion and winning the national championship. The brotherhood in there is just remarkable. I've never been, I don't think, around a better brotherhood than that national championship team. The way guys listened to my leadership style, the way they responded, how I got better from them, how they put pressure on me and held me accountable, and just the things off the field, how they came so easy rather than having to monitor each person, just how easy it came. Everyone made the right decision. Yeah, I could go on and on about that team, but that was one of the best experiences. And then going to Fullerton Fullerton brought me to California again, and I'll never forget that moment. And the way it's impacted me since then, all of that never, fusion, all of this would have never happened without Fullerton. And so giving a chance to me and having me come and believe in me.
Why Fullerton? Why'd you pick Fullerton? Of all the places you can go? Did they recruit you especially hard?
Yeah, they recruited me.
Okay.
A lot of schools were recruiting me in that period. But Fullerton, the way they spoke to me and the honesty that came from it, because everybody knows a recruiting speech.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could tell me great thing. I've been through that. Just what do I need to do to earn a spot on the team, and what do I need to do to excel and become a leader? Is that opportunity there? And that opportunity was presented to me from a lot of schools, but the way the coaching staff spoke with me and how they've treated me so far with the honesty, by doing the right thing, getting good grades, being a good person, and being a good soccer player, all those things combined, by emphasizing that, I was like, okay, Fullerton's my choice. And then I went through with it, and it's been a great decision. That's been a big moment for me.
And you've got a good coach that you like?
Yeah, good coach, pushes us, wants us to do great off the field and on the field, and demands. The number one person he's a demander and a winner, and just wants that. He fiends for that, just that desire, that winning feeling again every day, and doesn't get tired of it. Yeah.
That's important to have.
Yeah, it is.
As a good leader.
And our assistant, Enrique Cardenas, he's monumental for the program as well. Just the way he pushes us, and he demands. He demands also a different level, and he leads us into war on that field. When it gets to that field, you are battling, but also trying to play a possession-based game.
Yeah.
And so the way he tries to combine that is really important for our team. And then Irving's our other assistant, who focuses on technical side, and whenever he chips in to the conversation, he adds a valuable point to it.
What's the training like for Fullerton? 4 days a week, 5 days a week, weightlifting, technical work?
Yeah, so we train at Fullerton a ton with the ball. We believe a ton comes from the ball. Not so much weight room. We train the weight room 4 days a week. It's still a lot, but the ball work is what we emphasize the most. We train on the ball every day of the week. You're staying after training? Yeah, the coaches aren't allowed to train us anymore. Okay, I'll go train on my own with friends. And we'll work on the ball every day of the week. And so you're training like 5 hours a day on that field, or 4 hours, 3 hours, and in the weight room an hour. And so, yeah, that's the environment.
What would you say, what advice would you give to like a 15-year-old player wanting to play at a high level like you? What would you say to him? Like, what advice would you give, someone who has the desire to be a D1, potentially professional athlete? Either to say, yes, keep doing this, or no, try to avoid this.
Yeah, I tell her to work as hard as you can. And that's cliche, everyone says that. But none of this would come if you don't work hard. That's definitely the bottom line. And working hard is doing the right things off the field as well. And on the field, make sure you're doing your role as best as possible. But off the field at a young age, you need to have that hunger to want to be the best in the world and be unrelentless on that field. And I think that that the off the field is the most important. What you do when you get home is the most important. When you get home from training, are you going to eat Doritos and watch a movie? Or are you going to go home and eat a good meal, have fun with your friends, with your family, and then go back out there and attack the day again. And it's a restart. Okay, I might have not did as well in training as I did with the team, but I'm going to go home and I'm going to juggle 500 times when I'm 15 and see if I could do that. And so, yeah, definitely working hard in that aspect's the most important. But I'd also say as you're developing through the years, the mental health part, I don't think enough people talk about that. And I have to advocate for that. Mental health's super important. And some people be like, well, the mental health's not that important at a young age. At that point, you get into middle school, you get into high school, your friends are doing drugs. They want you to try that. Your parents are telling you what to do, what not to do. You're hanging out with friends. Then you get peer pressure. Then you have what your mind, that decision that your mind makes is gonna either push you forward or it's gonna bring you back really quick. And to get that into a 15-year-old's mind, that's hard. Yeah. And
I've told my players about this. Like, you have a physical diet and you have a mental diet, and you have to be careful of what you put in your mind, just like you have to be careful of what you put in your body.
Yeah.
And I think they understood that. You know, they're middle schoolers, and middle school is a tough age.
It's tough.
You know,
you want people to like you. You don't know if they're gonna like you.
Yeah.
I'm a nerd. I'm a try hard. I'm this.
It's tough.
It's hard, and you got to just not care what people think and just work on relentlessly. But definitely there's so much to tell them. And I always say to myself, I don't want to say later, I wish I knew this. I want the older people in front of me to give me advice. Tell me the keys to it. And that's what I've learned so much at 21 and 22, like with problems or issues that I'm going through or anything. There are 500-page books that talk about that one thing that you're going through. There is a book for every single thing that you're going through. And I'm like, why am I trying to do it by myself? If I do it and then you know what happens? I'm like, oh, I think I could do this. I do it by myself. I hit the door and I'm like, I'm so dumb. I should have just listened to what's there. And so, yeah, that's also the age where it's good to try to figure it on your own, because then you learn. But it gets easier once you know the keys and what you have to do. And you just have somebody pushing you that way, I think you'll be okay.
Yeah, you just follow the path already.
Yeah.
I saw on Instagram that you were baptized in the water. Do you want to talk about that experience and sort of what led to that? I know you're a man of faith. I don't know how much you want to talk about it.
Yeah, I could talk about that. So anybody knows, we didn't script this before. You got me off guard right now.
And I can cut it. There's no pressure.
I totally loved. If it's one part that I don't want to be cut, it's this part.
Okay. I had to ask because I knew I'd be upset with myself if I didn't ask.
Yeah, it's just thank you, first of all. I could go through the whole story when at a young age I was growing up in a Catholic household. I'd always go to church, and before I even share my story, if anyone listens and hears it, I know people could tune out once the religion side comes up, but I think this applies even without religion. So I grew up in a Catholic household with my family, and I never really believed. I never was a believer in anything. I was just like, you work hard. And I was like, dang, that's a cop-out that you believe that you're going through a tough time. Okay, go believe it. Go believe in whatever you want to believe and get through whatever you got to do. That's how I would think all the time till now, till 21, 22. And all the time. So
they were just being lazy.
You're just being lazy. And I'm like, and people be like, everyone works hard. Everyone works hard, right? Like, you just gotta, God gives you that, Jesus. And I'm like, yeah, okay. I was just like, you do it. And so I never paid attention in church growing up. That's just how I was.
Yeah.
And then fast forward this year, I got invited by my roommate, Nick, to go to FCA, Fellowship of Christian Athletes. Cool. And he went, and he was going through a tough time at the time. And I was like, I'll go and be a good teammate and be there for him. Like, I don't know if I'm going to need it. And then it turned out being for me. And I didn't know. And so when I went, I shared this story a ton of times. And when I went, I was like, oh, that something resonated with me, like, really good. And I was like, oh, that. I was like, the Bible got all the answers. I was like, they're real good at this. That's how I would be. I'd be like, they're really good at this. Like, oh, I question and you got to answer right away. My bad. Like, you got it all figured out. So then it was tough, and then I left that time, and I was like, oh, Nick, I think I'll go next week. And the next week came around, and I didn't go. And then the following came around, and I was like, Nick, when's FCA? He's like, oh, it's today. I was like, okay, I'm going to go. So then I went, and then there were two girls there, Haley and Maddie, and then I went up to them, and I was just like, we come to FCA, all this resonates with me. Why do you believe? Like, can you just tell me? And so they told me, and then I went to the pastor at the time, and there's a man named Ali Malaikala. I don't know if I pronounced the name right, but he is so amazing. That man, I could go a podcast just for himself. Like, he is so generous, honest, helps me understand in all the right way. And so I questioned him, and his friend Chad, and I questioned him. I was just like, it's a cop out. Like, why do you believe? Why do you believe in all this? And and then they told me a verse, and they were like, and it went something like, don't harden your heart when you hear God's word. Mm-hmm. And I was just like, okay, all right, I'm not gonna harden my heart. And they were like, Gio, just pray, that you soften your heart. And I was like, okay, I will. So then at nighttime, I was like, God, if you hear me, like, soften my heart, please. And I would do that, like, kind of sarcastic. And I was like, just soften it, right? So then I went and I questioned him for like an hour, maybe 40 minutes. And I just was like, Ali, what are you talking about? And I have a picture from that night, from when it happened. And then a friend invited me, Toby. He's like, Gio, you should come to Bible study. And I was like, why are all these things coming? Like, why is everyone invited? So like, okay, I'll go to Bible study. So I went to Bible study, and I was believing a little bit. Because I was like, okay. So then I went, and then I went to Bible study, and then I was like, I want to read the Bible. So then I was like, I'm going to go get the Bible. And Ali was like, no, I'll go bring you the Bible. So I was like, okay. Then I start reading the Bible, and something just like spoke to me. And the people who believe will kind of understand, but it was just like, I'm an idiot. Like, how could I not believe? And it was a total flip. And it's been incredible what God's done in my life so far. And Denzel Washington always says, I didn't always stick with him, but he always stuck with me. Mm. And that's all from Denzel. And he'll say, no, it's not from me, it's from God. And now I believe, and it's so amazing. And it's like I work even harder, and I could go on and describe it, but people won't really understand unless they believe. And I just want to share it with anyone. And I'm so grateful that you even asked the question, because I just want to share God's word. And that is so important over anything, over soccer, over everything. It's just, I need to be a better follower, and I need to follow better. And there's so much good. There is so much good in it. And people think that sometimes it's so cutthroat, but the people that I've met that brought me into kind of like a family, it's amazing. And then at FCA, I shared with the group, I was like, we come to FCA to feel good, to go on a checklist to say we come to believe, and then we don't hang out after. And I shared that with the group. And then the group was like, you know what, guys, let's all go out for ice cream. And all of us went. And it's just the understanding of people that want to follow. Not all of us follow the best. Mm-hmm. And anyways, I could go on and on as a rant. But yeah, it's been amazing. That journey, and getting baptized I got baptized when I was younger, communion, confirmation in the Catholic Church, but I didn't believe. I was like many people who are like, oh. But I am so bought in, just like I am with my soccer, and even more in my faith, and now I'm so happy and grateful that God can even bring me into his kingdom and show me just a little bit, and I'm so happy. I could just go on. And Ali, I really just have to say thanks to Ali for showing me the way, how God just spoke through him to show me this. In the baptized feeling, I met people came to my baptism who I wasn't even best friends with, and they were just happy for me. And I remember at the baptism, I went to somebody, CJ, and his wife. I keep forgetting his wife's name, but I went to them, and I went to his wife, and I was just like, for some reason, I just feel like you got to just take care of me in California. And it was so weird, because who goes up to a stranger and asks them that? And I was just like, you know what? I'm just going to go to them with what I feel. And they were like, Gio, we love you. They're like, whatever you need, let us know. And I haven't really spoke to them that much since, but that loving feeling. And the bottom line where this came from, I think, is through this whole year I've been like wanting a best friend. And I have a best friend named Marcy, who was in California, who was my best friend, my first best friend here, like my brother. And he left my school, and it was really hard pill to swallow. And I don't know why it was so hard. It was just my friend, but it was weird. And then I just wanted a best friend, and even though I have tons of best friends, I have Danny, all of them, Griffin, it's just they didn't fulfill my expectation of a best friend. And it's like I finally found that, and someone to put all my trust in, and I love it. And so yeah, that gives the baptism talk.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. Yeah. Right, yeah, I had to ask.
So I wanted to really give my sincere thank you to Fusion. I'm here. This would have never happened without Fusion. At least I don't think so. Maybe you would have found me in Orange County. But I text Amo, I text Rambir, I tell them, if people who don't know, Rambir is the owner of Fusion. Amo's a great guy. Sonny too. And, there's so many people here, Pat, Coach Pat, there's so many people here that have changed my life. And I get a little emotional when always talking about Fusion, because it's the best club, one of the best clubs that I've ever been a part of. And I just want to say thank you for believing in me, opening up the door, taking care of me. You feel really gutted whenever you have to go. And this is my last season. I probably won't play with Fusion again after this. Just because that's how it works. You go professional, and then you're not going to play USL 2. Fusion ever ends up becoming an MLS team. Always keep me in the loop. But they've done absolutely outstanding every year with the recruiting, with the finding of players. And people would say, oh, that's easy. But the culture here of loving each other, being kind to people, it's shown in every single thing that we do. In the coach, in the ownership, they really want us to win, and they also expect nothing in return. At least from what I've seen, I haven't seen them ask me of anything except to do your best. And for the players' side, the players all appreciate, I'm speaking for the players, every player appreciates Fusion so much. And that national championship that we won, that was just icing on the cake. That was amazing. But regardless of anything, just being recruited here and loved here it's outstanding, and they're always like, Gio, we appreciate you, thank you. And I always want to say thank you again, because I feel like they never really accept the thank you. It's more like we owe it to you guys. But I really want them to feel like you all at Fusion, every coach, every owner, everyone, we're so grateful and so happy to play for you. And we will always do our best to just play at the highest level for you. And we're going to be the most kind people. And from the bottom of my heart, I can't thank them enough for all they've done for me. And I continue to have a relationship after 3 years. It's amazing. And so thanks, Fusion. I could go on, and I probably will say thank you again later on. And so I would just appreciate it. Yeah.
All right, Gio. Well, I appreciate you coming on the podcast today. Thanks for sharing yourself, really.